Welcome to Love You Bro podcast, where I am your host, Jude Davella. And as I do it up every week, I'm doing it with my brother, Jamie.
What it do?
Man, bro, I'm telling you, I had to come rolling in today in the all-black gear, hoodie over the head. We started this podcast, man, because, things were all shiny, and it's like having a new Mercedes, new Rolls Royce out there the last 6-7 years. We were just trying to figure out whether we were doing home field advantage, who was coming in, how many playoff games we had. And now, man, after watching that game last night against the Texans, I don't know, bro. I feel like kind of like the Grim Reaper. But listen, man, we've rode the thing high for the last 7, 8, 9 years, and it's in shambles right now, huh?
Yeah. Well, first off, before we go any further, let's set a date for when my dinner's going to be. We made a bet. We made a bet at Ocean Prime. No. Let me speak here. We made a bet at Ocean Prime, and you said, "Hey, Ocean Prime, who's going to win the division?" I got the Chiefs. I got the Broncos. So it's holiday season. So why don't you look in your Rolodex when you can, and let's get in there next week because it's a holiday, so it's going to book up. But I want my dinner. So then we'll talk a little bit about where this was, and also this year when we started, where I said they didn't do enough. And to circle back to that, I think it's a combination of things to put us where we're at. It's not doom and gloom. It's not the end of it. It's the end of the season. They only got a 10% chance, and they need everything to work out, and I don't see them winning 4 games in a row. But it will be an interesting offseason because there's a lot of stuff that will go on. We spoke about that briefly. But last night, to be honest, I wasn't and have not been disappointed because it's kind of been the writing on the wall for me personally. And it goes down, now it's a culmination of things, to be honest, from the top on down. And you said today, last year, we talked about this. They had a lot of things go their way. We sat on this podcast and got heated about, you were like, they were 15-1 regardless. And I was like, yeah, but a lot of things that happened, they were really lucky on.
And like I discussed with you today, I'm kind of in that point, in that mode of last year, being 15-2. I wasn't that guy that was like, oh, we're just going to go through and just, smoke everybody and just win the Super Bowl, because I knew we had a lot of bounces and breaks and dings and doinks on field goals, and we blocked a field goal to win a game. So I wasn't all the way just like riding the thing like, oh my God, we're the greatest team on earth.
You were pretty close to saying we're the greatest team on earth.
I know we were good,
yeah.
But at the same time right now, I come in here tongue in cheek with a, black hoodie and the hood over the head of, doom and gloom. But I'm not that guy either that's at the bottom right now thinking, okay, we have to just rip this thing apart, get rid of everybody. Let's start trading all the pieces, start trading everybody. They're going to have to be smart in the offseason. And to me personally, and neither one of us are football gurus, neither do we don't claim to be, but we've been around the game long enough to know. I would think if the season the way it's gone this year, I would think there's going to be changes in the personnel. Not just the personnel, but in the coaching staff. I would think if I was at the top, I think there would be some changes.
That's not going to happen.
You don't think?
No, I don't think that's going to happen. And the thing about it is, I don't consider myself a guru, but I have just as informed. I'm without insiders, but I watch what I watch and see what I see and see what other teams do. So no, I'm not lucky enough, or I don't, know someone ESPN to get on. There's a lot of people that get paid a lot of money that I know just as much as. So I'm not considering myself any of that, but but I think the narrative, all along, and us as being fans, you held on to it a little bit more, like they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. And when I had people last week ask me, I go, what makes you think they're going to win 5 of 6 games or 5 of 5 games? What makes you think that? And nobody could give me a right answer other than they've just done it in the past, which is a lame ass answer, because they had not done enough, or have they done enough to make me believe. And once again, after the Chargers game, we're sitting there doing it from the lovely people at Maloney's. We're doing it on the rooftop, and I'm like, they just haven't done. They don't look interested, and still, to me personally, in week whatever we're in, not that they don't care, but they look tired, and it's a tired organization from top all the way down to the guy who cleans the.
And that's that. I mean, that's a good point. Being tired, top to bottom. If you go look, we played 27 more games in the last 7 years than anybody in the NFL. Yeah. That's almost 2 full seasons. Yeah. That's almost 2 full seasons. You can't tell me at some point you don't hit a wall. I don't care if you're whatever portion of the organization you are, and this organization is a great one. Nobody's going to sell me on the, I hear some of these clowns being like, they're just haters of Mahomes, and they're like, oh, he's done. Their dynasty's done. I don't buy that. I know there's going to be a lot of work that they have to do. You're lucky if you win one Super Bowl and someone's like, oh, they lucked into it. That quarterback that played for the Ravens that was there with that great defense and Trent Dilfer. That's a lucky dude that wins one. You don't go win the MVPs and put up the stats, put up the games that 15 has put up, that 87's put up, that this offense has put up, that these coaches have put up.
But that's over though. Okay,
that's
so
maybe that's over.
That's over.
I would bet my house against anybody in Kansas City that Mahomes wins another Super Bowl. Tell me he's not going to win another Super Bowl.
I
put my house against
him.
Please, please.
I don't know if anyone's going to bet you a house, but I mean,
but you could honestly look me now and say, I don't think 15 wins another Super Bowl.
I mean, I don't know. I will be surprised if he does.
You'd be surprised if he does.
I do. I will be because where you start here is Coach Reed, where he's at age wise and how much time he has left on his. So if the organization as a whole thinks Nagy's the guy, the predecessor to take that role over and take them to another,
I haven't heard that.
Okay, so I haven't heard that. Okay.
I haven't heard that. They said Nagy's going to take over.
No, but I'm just saying. I'm just suggesting. Kansas City, since our parents have been going for 60 plus years, they've always played their organization close to the vest. They've had Jack Stedman. You go all the way down from what they've done. They're not an organization that likes a lot of change, a lot of shakeup. You start winning some games and you put championships with it. Those coaches will go out on their own terms. However that is, they'll go out on their own terms.
Then maybe you know more than I do because I don't feel that way. I don't know anything anymore than anybody else.
So what was Bob Sutton? Do you think he was here too long, or do you think that was the after you had the worst defense 3 years in a row, and Coach Reed held on to him?
Bob Sutton was probably here too long. I mean, I think there needs to be changes made and the coaching staff. I think you're going to need to bring some new blood in. I think you need some more innovation offensively. But I just, to me, my guys look tired, man. They played a lot of football. And when you start having things go against you and you start having, and I'm not going to blame it on refs and that, but you've had.
No. Refs have nothing to do with it. The refs.
I don't want to say the refs had nothing to do with it. There was a lot of bullshit calls in the Dallas game that you don't call. The one yesterday where our guy steps back and Nico Collins falls down. And like he slipped.
That was poor call. But we're talking organizationally, if they're going to win another Super Bowl with Mahomes,
so let's just make this bet that we're here as long as we're collecting notes and collecting receipts and everything. Let's make a bet here. I don't care when it happens, even if the podcast is over. Let's make a bet for another night out of dinner that Mahomes wins another Super Bowl.
Okay, sure. Okay, that sounds good.
I mean, if you're telling me you don't think he's going to,
I just think it will be. And so once again, if you think that the wide receiver room is fixed, it's not. To have as many drops as they have, Rashee Rice is not as good in year 3 as he was in year 1.
Okay.
Xavier Worthy's not as good as year 3 than he was in his rookie, or excuse me, his second year than he was his first year. All of those guys have progressively gotten. I mean, they're dropping passes at an alarming rate. And so, if you're telling me right now that Mahomes, he can't look downfield, and when he does that stuff and he scrambles and runs around, they can't get open downfield. So it's either a system problem or the receivers can't get open. And the thing about it is, to me, if you look at teams that have big time receivers, whether teams are not as good, they're usually bigger guys. Andy Reid's biggest receiver, they're all small guys that got speed. I thought Rice was going to be that guy, but he's not in the category of a true number 1 receiver that you need. So what you thought, including myself, including everyone around football, was like, this is going to be Mahomes' best receiving room he's ever played with.
Every analyst in the NFL
and
said
I thought, I mean, but you look statistically, what Worthy did last year, what Rice did his rookie year, what he started last year, and then
if you look at their numbers, their offensive numbers are better than they were last year. Being 6-7, their offensive numbers are better than they were last year.
Right, but it's still. They have not looked to me at dominant in any sort of fact. There's way too many. You look at the costly interceptions, and I'm talking just throwing it to the other team see.
But how many times we have balls tipped, receivers come out of balls out of the receivers' hands?
So whose fault is that? The receivers, right?
I don't know, because the ball could have been thrown behind him, could have been thrown over him.
I
was always taught when I was in high school, if you get your hands on the ball, you better catch it.
Yeah,
and
they're just
there
are just way too many drops, and so I think that it will. I don't know. I think after spending a lot of draft capital on high wide receivers, you still don't have a true franchise number one wide receiver that you can compare with an Amon St. Brown. You can compare with a Smith and Jigba. You compare with a Jefferson, a Chase. All guys that we don't have anyone close to that.
No, but I also wonder why doesn't how come a guy like Jalen Royals can't get on the field? I don't understand that. They were kind of high on him. They said he was going to be a lot like a Rasheed Rice and stuff. Guy hasn't seen the field.
No, we talked about that.
And then early on, Tyquan Thornton was making big-time plays. He could go up. He could track a ball. He was going up and making plays. And you haven't seen him a whole lot.
And he dropped that one last night. He dropped
that defender made a hell.
But also but he did. But that's it still went through his hands, and that's a play you have to make.
It didn't go through his hands. If you go watch the safety when he came through, that number 4 safety, the Lassiter kid, when he came, he punched through. So he punched the ball after he got up here. He punched the ball out.
Yeah.
I mean, that defender made a hell of a play.
Yeah.
Had he come down with it, that would have been a fucking Jefferson type play.
I just and I think so for me, I mean, I don't know, man. That's just it. A lot of people take for granted what it was and how it lined up and how stuff got. But like last night, seeing the plays C.J. Stroud made, Mahomes made those 3 years ago. Those plays that he continued and threw the ball downfield sharp to guys and hit guys and scrambled. He was
Stroud played well. He
played his ass off last night.
He made some plays last night. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, though, I still don't understand. I don't get it. And maybe it's just a gut feeling, whatever. I mean, I know being an armchair quarterback is the worst thing in the world because we all have the answers the next day, the day after. But I just wish the way the defense came out and played the second half yesterday, they shut the Texans water off. They were at -2 yards in the third quarter. And the 4th and 1, our own 31, we go for it. I wish at that time we would have kicked it and let our defense play because there was already that rock fight of 10-10. Nobody was really moving the ball at that point. And we had a couple decent drives, but I just wish we would have, because our defense, I felt like they got a little deflated when we went for it and didn't. Then all of a sudden we're back on the 31-yard line.
Yeah, and once it come I was listening to satellite radio today, and I was listening to a Philly station because I like to check in on those guys. And obviously, I have a big one with the Chargers, and a lot of them were talking about Andy Reid, and that's why Philadelphia. There came a time that there was a lot of stuff that Andy would get away from the running game, and he wouldn't run as much. His use of timeouts, his fourth go, so that essentially cost him the game because CBS had a stat out today that in the last 13 years, that was the worst field territory to go on it.
I saw that.
To go on it when the game's tied up 10-10. Yeah. That's the worst.
Worse than 13 years. The furthest back that someone has gone from.
Yes, in their own territory.
In their own territory, right.
And they're 10-10. And when it was doing it, I was like, I looked over at the people I was watching with, and I was like, I hope he's like fucking going to do this stupid like hard count and try to do, to like jump them off sides. I'm like, but then we're going to have to use the timeout or whatever. But that you go for it. And the play that they had was not good. And then the fact in the first half, when you get that roughing the punt or running to the kicker, so you get 5 yards, so it's 4th and 5 from the 44-yard line. Yeah. Then I could see you going for it.
Right.
Then because even if they stop you there, okay, they got a little bit more field as opposed to that. But then they get the kid. They were already missing the Marks kid, and then Chubb got hurt. Their third string running back scores that last touchdown, and that just sucked. I think everyone was like. It didn't make any sense, and nobody could. And even if Coach Reid was here right now trying to make it, it would still be with all due respect, I'd be like, that's bullshit. Because everyone is saying, and I don't think if you had a coach he's coached with in the past or before, they'd be like, Dan Campbell wouldn't have gone for that shit. And he goes for everything.
Dan Campbell goes for fourth down. It's 4th and 29 from his own 20.
Yeah.
The play yesterday that I wish that would have went, because if you go look at it, I went and looked at the Pro Football Focus stuff today. I looked at that play that they had. You know how they always go the short yardage to Kareem Hunt, right? So when they faked that short yardage and he came out of the backfield, there was nothing but green grass in front. There was nobody behind him. And I think what happened was Mahomes just he threw it just so quick. Like I saw him so wide open, and he just pitched it. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God! I mean, you look and there's nobody behind Kareem. If he catches it,
it's kind of been a, their season in whole. Butker missing that kick, and just that's
another one, man. You're the highest paid kicker in the league.
You're the highest paid kicker in the league, and because I'll put it this way. I know, and Coach Reed could be like, no, that wouldn't be the same. If he would have made that field goal, then they wouldn't have gone for it for that fourth down when it was, when that was what no way they would have gone for it. So that's a bullshit. And he kind of, that other one he squeezed in. Yeah. He squeezed it in. I was like, oh, look, to make it 10 times. I was like, dude. I was my
thing was, remember the first one he hit to the right, hit the right crossbar. And then the second was like he tried to overcompensate and just barely stuck to the side.
He stuck in the side. So if it was, I didn't trust him going later in the game if it was going to be a field goal game. But I said, in special teams, Tobes cost us games. I was surprised yesterday there wasn't. So for that one aspect of the game, usually you see every kickoff return there's a yellow flag. Every kickoff there's a yellow flag. True. I don't care if you get it 25 yards up the field. It's like, dude, who is holding this time? Who's blocking in the back this time? So they didn't have anything yesterday. And then the one thing yesterday, I think everyone was okay. Defensively they played really well. They played with a lot of heart. Jones played with a lot of emotion. He played with a lot of heart.
Man, that defense was filthy in the second half.
Essa Pohl, he showed me a lot, and I think he showed
Elsa Pohl, that left tackle. For a kid getting thrown in, first time in the NFL game.
And they talked about him a lot in training camp, and he was at Wazoo.
A big kid.
He's at Wazoo. And then when people were pissed that he didn't make the team or make the practice squad, and then when he got taken up, people were pissed and people were chirping about it, like on X and whatnot. And then the Jets, and I was like, oh, they're getting this kid back that a lot of people really, really high on. And to me, you look at the guys like from Kennard and the other left tackle we had that were high draft picks for us. Kennard was a fourth, and then what was the guy's name? He was a guard, or maybe a tackle. But anyway, he was a guy that I think we took in the third round from I don't know if it was from BYU, but
Kennard was from TCU. I can't remember.
Kennard played at Kentucky. But there was another guy, a lineman that never panned out, and it's in the Veach era. It was 3 or 4 years ago. But this dude to come in and Danielle Hunter, he did as good as anyone's done against Danielle Hunter all year. And Danielle Hunter is a monster and has been a monster in the league. And that dude and Isa went in there and did a phenomenal job and didn't look like it was too big or too
the lights are too bright.
Yeah, that it was and he held his own. So that's a positive situation next year.
Positive.
That between him and Jalen next year at right tackle, or if he's the swing tackle, and they what they have, and or Jalen or Moore's the tackle next year, and then he takes over right tackle the following year. So that's a positive that you have, and
that was definitely a positive to pull from there yesterday. But what a tough. And I'm not making excuses for the team, but I don't know too many offenses that can go start a game with 3 different linemen out. We're missing Trey Smith yesterday. We're missing Jawan Taylor.
How many games has Trey Smith missed this year?
2 or 3.
More than that. I think 4. I think probably 4 or 5.
And we missed Josh Simmons yesterday. So
it'll be interesting to see tonight that Hardball's a tremendous coach. Right. They're missing both their tackles against Philadelphia. So we'll see.
About it. Cancel Christmas. Philly wins tonight. Yeah. I called it here first.
Yeah. That's not a big call, but I'm saying we'll see how they game plan.
It's in LA too, isn't it? It's in LA.
How they, it's not really not a home field, but it'll be interesting to see how those two. Those pass rushers they got over there, how much they get after Herbert, who has he had surgery, non-throwing hand.
I'll be anxious to go take a look at that game.
But to see how he does and what they do, what they do without their tackles, and their 2 tackles are are all pro, like all world guys that they're missing.
Slater and Alt.
And what they're missing. So it's not easy to do, and you knew that's why last night. Or yesterday going into it, I was like, holy shit. I was like, when the Chiefs were favored by 3.5, I go, whoever's not jumping on the Texans that know that we're missing 3 linemen,
linemen.
And how stagnant it was. But, they were, like I said, they were in it. You get plays, and when it happens each game, we're a couple plays. It comes from being a couple of plays to you're just a below average football team, and that's why we're 6-7. I mean, so they're not, but you can't continue to make penalties in the special teams.
Because in the last few years, we weren't making those penalties.
Drops.
In the last few years, you always knew if Mahomes had the ball at the end of the game, we weren't going to make a penalty. We were going to catch the ball. We were going to do all the little things to get us down the field and put us in field goal range. Butker would kick it, or Mahomes would take it and drive us down for a touchdown. But all those little things that we had, that we were crisp, that we were well coached on.
Yeah,
we weren't making mistakes. We weren't doing, and that's why everybody was like, that's why these guys have won 17 in a row, 1-score games. But this year, for whatever reason, it's like the wheels have just fallen off. Like all of a sudden, we forgot how to play football. We're getting penalties. Guys are dropping the ball. It's just.
And somebody said something interesting today, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like walking into the room and I heard the TV's on, and they talked about how Mahomes, when he won that Super Bowl against San Francisco, he did it with Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Scantlin, and he has
McCole Hardman
and McCole, yes, but way lesser skill set than the receivers that he has that have proven it. Because Hollywood was that tough kid in Baltimore. He put up some numbers. Rice,
he's made great catches.
Everyone's made, but not as enough. It's not enough. And for where they are, statistically, it's just like it'll be a really interesting offseason, and they're going to have to. The thing I always loved about the Patriots and how they conducted business, they didn't necessarily draft real well, but they let guys go when they had to let guys go. And I'm talking Hall of Famers, Willie McGinnis, Ty Law. I mean, you go down
all those cats, man.
You go down that.
They didn't get a second. If they're at 30, if they're hitting 29 going to 30, they never got. They never got paid. Not there.
And they went. They went and played Lawyer Malloy. They went and played places. Right. They went and played places and were productive. Right. But they weren't going to get they weren't going to get hamstringed into doing that and paying those guys that will. It's a detriment to your program and the long term of things.
For sure.
So it'll be interesting to see the draft how and what we because if you tell me right now, I think we're probably being like the 14 to 17 range.
We're at 14 right now. If we lose,
which I would. I mean, they probably will beat. They'll probably beat the Raiders and Titans. I would say. I would say that they probably would. But the Raiders played hard yesterday. And I always say he's one of my favorite players.
So we may finish 8. We may finish 8-9.
Yeah, I mean it's
they go 2-2 the rest of the way. We finished 8-9.
Yeah.
God, if anybody told me that at the beginning of the year, I'd have been losing money all day long.
But yesterday, and it's that's a guy I feel sorry for is Max Crosby. He was playing essentially with one arm against Denver yesterday and still getting after it. And Denver beat. I mean, Vegas scored a couple late touchdowns, so Denver won.
Yeah, but it was them out.
Yeah, Denver. I mean, they scored 10 points in the fourth quarter did the Raiders to make it look even respectable, but they were out there fighting. And like I said, Crosby, I mean, they'll want to fight and they'll want to claw and but I think they went, I mean, way less talented on paper when you look at it. So you should win those. But this week, depending on what if the Herbert kid, that's another thing. He goes out and re-injures that, or and it's his non-throwing hand, but you still need. Yes, he's got
to have some type of protective glove or brace or something.
He has to, and then I still don't think we beat the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos they'll smack us. They'll knock us around pretty good.
It just depends what linemen we have. That are healthy, and
we had everyone healthy in Denver, and it was.
I know, but I mean, it was that was a close game down to the end. We made some bad plays the end. We missed some passes, dropped some balls.
I mean, and there's just horrible interceptions that you're seeing Mahomes throw now this year that other quarterbacks aren't. They're living to play another day. They're throwing the ball into the stands, or they're throwing it into the, and that's a big. You look at the.
Hey, listen, I told you before, man. I love 15, and I'll stay with 15. The 3 rings he's brought us, this team and this organization, this town's never seen before. So I'm definitely not a guy that's like, 15. I'll ride that guy until the last pass he throws an arrowhead. That's just me.
No, I think that's a whole Chiefs Nation. But
that's
that's everyone. I mean, that's every Kansas City Chiefs fan. But I'm just saying, of the picks he's thrown, that one in Denver, which was horrible, where he threw and it was going in the end zone. The one in Philadelphia he threw. The one in Jacksonville he threw. There, you're talking game momentum plays. So you're saying, play here, play there. Well, those are all plays that other quarterbacks aren't making. Other quarterbacks aren't making.
And other quarterbacks don't have 3 rings though too. So I mean, I got. And I mean, here's another thing we talked about at the beginning of the year, and I said until those guys go and win a Super Bowl and do it,
right?
You know, I'm still. I mean, the Lamar Jacksons, the Joe Burrows, the Josh Allens. Josh Allen, they're not even the best team in their division. If Josh Allen doesn't go this year with the Chiefs not being in it, when's he going to go?
Well, I don't. You know, that is a good question, and that's a good question just AFC wise. And you look at the teams that are built, and
New England's built to beat them. They've already beat them once,
right?
And
New England's built to beat a lot of teams in the AFC. So that's what you start looking at young, New England will be in on all the free agents because they have all the money to do it.
Right.
So Buffalo. If
Buffalo
they
goes
don't,
to New England this coming Sunday. Buffalo goes to New England this coming Sunday, and New England beat them in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I would just, I mean, if New England beats them this weekend, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it is. I think it'll probably be. I mean, for me, if I had to say it now, Denver's going to the Super Bowl. I think Denver's going to the Super Bowl, and then out of the NFC,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Green Bay probably.
Green Bay's playing some good football.
I would say Denver. Right, I said, right now, they're the most complete team. Bo Nix I like that kid. He plays with moxie. They got a good running game. They got a good line. Their defense is nasty. Indy, they're ever since we beat them, they just spiraled downward.
And now Daniel Jones tore his Achilles.
Yeah, so
listen, not to cut this off, whatever, but I forgot to jump into something here that I was going to do at the beginning of the show, and I just want to give a heartfelt shout out to all of our friends and family. I call them family because I met them one time there, but the way they've loved Chiefs Kingdom, the way they've loved the Kansas City Chiefs. A shout out to all the guys at Big Charlie's in Philadelphia and South Philly. Their guy who owned and ran their place, Paulie, he passed away November 30th, and it's been tough. I saw those guys; they had to put Paulie to they laid Paulie to rest on Saturday. But just the love and stuff that Chiefs Kingdom in Kansas City has shown them. A shout out to all the guys at Big Charlie's. Everybody who's ever come to that bar from Kansas City, bro. We walked in there, they were, buying us shots, and Paulie's like, hey, I'm going to have my friend from down the street bring some pies over, and you're having pizza and you're drinking. It's just guys from South Philly who are born and raised in Philadelphia who have a Chiefs bar. So their love for all that, man.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What they've done is it was on NFL
Films, yeah. NFL Films did a thing on there. So, Paulie, rest in peace, brother. We're going to raise one up. I know I've talked to some of the people at Big Charlie's, bro. We're going to do something cool for them next year. We're going to invite them down for a home weekend, do a big tailgate and everything. So they said they'll bring a bunch of people from South Philly and Big Charlie's down. But just a heartfelt shout out to you guys there. I know what you guys are going through. So, just know you guys are our thoughts and prayers, and Paulie,
Amen.
Rest in peace, brother. Let's get ready to jump into. We'll have a guest coming on here pretty soon. Let's jump in a little bit of that. You and I were both over at the T-Mobile yesterday, checking out that Kansas-Missouri basketball game, that border war. Yeah. What'd you think yesterday?
Well, first off, I hate the fact of how the setup was.
As far as what?
That it was considered a home Kansas game. They should just played that in Lawrence.
Right.
And then next year they just put a Tiger on the middle of the court, and the Tigers get the student section in the band.
Right.
But if you're going to do that,
right,
make it, because there was no buzz or juice that I thought would be in the building. No. It wasn't that I was excited, but I thought it was going to be a lot. There was a lot of empty pockets, and they just didn't do it. Why not just have it on campus? Do you know what I'm saying? As opposed to put the Jayhawk thing, because even the intro, KU, it's something, but it doesn't hit like when it hits in the field.
No, for sure.
And I think if you ask those kids that suited up for MU, would you rather play it here? Would you rather go to historic Allen Fieldhouse? Everyone would be like, I'd rather go to the field house and have that experience.
Absolutely. Because remember last year they beat us in Columbia, and that place, that place was a zoo. It was a ZOU, and they got on us and they upset us last year.
Just like the year before, we smacked out. I mean,
right.
but it was in Lawrence.
But it would have been nice. It would have been nice to go back to Lawrence. And I think Fran Fraschilla said it best. You know me, I always go back and watch that. So I watched late last night. I watched the first half of the game. I want to go back tonight and watch the second half. But like Fran Fraschilla said, he said this didn't have the same energy, didn't have the same buzz as it normally would have it on campus. He goes, if you're going to play the home and away for 4 years, like he said, just go home and away and play it on campus.
And so that was my only thing, but it was still fun. It was you know. But I really I didn't know that was the situation. So when I walked in, I was like, okay, cool. The introductions will be cool. The MU band will go, then the KU band, then back and forth, and it just didn't. I'll tell you what, there was more juice and more energy when they played the game for charity back when they had Porter Jr. and they went and played it.
Right,
that
it
was
more.
Out. That was more of a buzz, and like there was like this, and because they had first of all they haven't done it forever, and they were doing that for charity, but it was still it was but it was both schools. Like it was like a Missouri section and a Kansas section. You know, it was almost divided down the middle of like half Kansas, half Missouri, and it was loud. And they would like the MU band would play, and the KU band would play the next time out, and the energy was just so much more than this was.
Right.
And this was like, I'm like, wait a minute, why are they like? This is like a KU game, and the floor kind of looks silly because it was just a big Jayhawk with like pink and light blue. It was just a weird. It was like a tournament game without being a Big 12 tournament game. But yes, I think that. I've said it since I've kind of beginning of the, you know, when they started to make this collection of guys that how good they were going to be. And I remember we were here and you're like, man, I'm not even talking about college basketball right now. I'm talking, you know, it's football, but I've been excited about these guys just knowing the squad that they have and the team, you know, and with DP out as long as he was, and for good reason, trying to get him right and get him healthy. Those kids, they kind of stepped in, and you can kind of see, like, to me, you kind of see an old school University of Illinois Bill Self team with guys who are a little bit more, like, even more skilled than Illinois' teams he had with D. Brown and Luther Head and those guys.
These guys get after you. They get after it. They get after you defensively.
Yes.
I mean, they're guarding you. You know, all the switches, all the changes. Those guys are up in your chin, though, playing defense, and the way they get after it on the boards. I'll tell you what, Trey White is. I love that kid.
I love how he plays.
Love that kid. Man.
I love how he plays. I love how tough he is.
He's got that dog in him, man. He's got that dog in him. But they're fun to watch yesterday. Started off a little bit slow yesterday.
Yeah,
but you knew. I like the fact that when DP came in yesterday, he didn't come in just being like, boom, I'm taking the ball over. I'm going to start, you know, he let everybody in the offense get in. He was trying to get everybody involved because, you know, when he's ready to go, he's just going to go. That's just what it is. He's going to go when he's ready to go. And you saw last night, I can't remember who it was. At halftime, Seth Goldberg, and they were like, you're just getting just a little sprinkle of what this kid's capable of.
Oh, yeah.
And Fran Fraschilla said there was a time he was at KU this fall practice, and he said there was a time they're scrimmaging, getting up and down the floor, and 8 times in a row he knocked down threes. And Self said he does this every day. So I'm excited to see what he does.
I mean, he's just so smooth, man. I mean, everything he does is just smooth, and he is like, you know, there was an anonymous NBA exec, and he had a picture of Patterson, and he's like, "This is a kid you tank for." Yeah. I mean, he's that. I mean, he next year he will go to the league and he will be really, really good. He'll be, if he's not first team all rookie, and he's like one of those guys that averages 12, 15, 16 a game his rookie year, and everyone's like, "Damn, this kid is good." Yeah. Like, you know, like the kid that last year he was at Baylor and then he came on to Philly, and he just absolutely hooped out, and you could see what he did. But it's going to be a phenomenal year, man. I mean, there is so much competition, and right now, once again, college basketball is as good as it's ever been. Yep. There are so many good teams. I mean, it is like, you know, UConn is incredible. Arizona is incredible. I mean, Duke is Duke.
I think what I like about college basketball, though, right now, what we're talking about is the fact that all these teams, nobody's afraid to play each other up front. Yeah. Like, I mean, you know, Kansas playing UConn. We played Duke. You know,
North Carolina.
We played North Carolina. Like, we played some dogs already.
Syracuse.
Syracuse. Tennessee.
Yeah.
They got a really talented freshman over there. That's super talented. But I mean, just playing that type of competition just makes you better later. I just never, back in the day, and everybody did it, but back even when Roy first started, as you came, you always had 7, 8, 9 Patsy. So by the time you got closer towards the league, you were 10-0, 11, 12, 13-0. You and I talked about this years ago. You were like, dude, it does us no good to go beat UMKC by 40 in UMKC. Like no disrespect to them, but you know what I'm saying? It just did no good to go beat teams by 30, 40, and then you get to get battle tested during tournament time, and then you're not ready for it.
Yeah, and you know what? And the Big 12 tournament, it's going to be incredible.
Oh my
the Big
gosh,
the Big 12
it,
tournament, dude. What Iowa State did at Purdue. So Saturday I'm working, right, and it's on, and I have bowl game. I have some of the championship games on, and I look up, and I'm not kidding, man. I rub my eyes. I'm like, am I fucking reading that right, dude? Iowa State went and they were up 20 at Purdue.
At Purdue?
Yes.
Did they beat Purdue Saturday?
By 20.
Oh my God.
At Purdue. And I was like, oh my, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Iowa State, Kansas, Houston, Arizona, BYU,
yes.
Like, good Lord.
I mean, it is well, and it's the best conference in college basketball. And,
For sure.
It's Houston.
For
I mean,
sure.
you got so many squads, and that, and I'll say it now, I will be surprised if 2, if not 3 teams for the Big 12 are in the Final Four, depending on how it shakes out and how talented they are and how well coached they are, and how it's
Duke will be somewhere around there. UConn will be somewhere around there.
Yeah,
but
Florida's really good. But
but the Big 12, I think they should have at least 2. They should have at least 2
in the Final Four. Yeah, I mean, I would say when that bracket shakes down that they'll have 2. They'll have 2 in the Final Four, and it's going to be. I mean, when you're watching it, when you're watching those games, like when we were, we went through a 1 for 15 against UConn, but when the game was flowing, it was big time, high skilled, high energy college basketball. It was. Did you hear that? Trent Green was there. He was in attendance.
I heard that. I heard that.
And he was in attendance, and he was like he had said he's like, hoops is my first love. He's like, I love college basketball.
Right.
He had the whole thing with Marley. He goes, they're breaking out of that 2-minute timeout, and he goes, it's so loud. He goes, Marley's like, what the hell are you doing here? Yeah. And he goes, and he's like, I just shrugged my shoulders. I know he couldn't hear me, so I just kind of shrugged my shoulders. And he said after the game, Dan Hurley sought him out. It's like, hey, I think, he goes, I just want to tell you, I loved your career. I followed your career. And it was like bro love. I was like, well, I love how you coach. I love what your toughness is.
I heard him on A10, right? Yeah. A10 was talking about
that. He was, so which is, I mean, once again, college basketball right now, it is awesome. And it's one of those things like, there's a lot of nights that, even if you're a decent college basketball fan, you're like, holy shit, these 2 teams are good, and they're going up and down, and it's like it's really good, man. It's it's a really good game now. Money's kind of changed things and how they are, but a lot of people have a lot of money, and a lot of people are putting it in the pool. The kid, I cannot wait to see when him and DP go out of the kid from BYU. They got $8 million. That is,
that's the 7-foot kid, right? That's the 7-footer.
I mean, he's phenomenal. But yeah, so it'll be awesome to see how that kind of plays out. It's weird because we played Sunday. We don't play now until Saturday against North Carolina State. I don't know if that's in
North Carolina State, right? Oh, because it's finals week. That's why I heard him talk about that yesterday. This is finals week this week, so they'll play finals and then they'll go at North Carolina. That's gonna be a tough game. Yeah, at North Carolina State on Saturday.
It'll be a tough game, and it will be. Yeah, but it's just like, but I hate that. I always forget about it till it happens, because usually I'm always pumped, even when we're not as good, to watch the Hawks. It's like, but I'll be pumped Saturday to turn them on, and then I think they turn around and play again on Tuesday, and I think.
Well, it's good.
I think is that Big 12?
I think we kick the Big 12 off after that. Yep.
And that's, once again, that is just going to be a gauntlet.
It's going to be a gauntlet this year, man.
And it's going to be like, but also, how exciting, how fun is that? Yeah. To me, it's one of those, like you'd be calling you on Tuesday night, like, oh man, we're playing at Colorado. They suck. Be fine.
Yeah.
And you were excited to watch, but not like, fuck, you'd be up on by 17 with 8 to go in the first half, and like this isn't, and everyone's knocking down threes. Like, yeah, let's see him do that the following game against someone, someone tougher. But this will be a night in, night out, be a tough thing.
Let's talk about last Saturday. Last Saturday night, made my way over. I'm glad you texted me because we had just come out of Mass. I made my way over to No Other Pub because Sophie Cunningham and her the West, I can't remember his last name right now, we're doing a meet and greet over at No Other Pub on Saturday. So I took her over some Love You Bro merch and the Mizzou colors. Sophie got a black and gold Love You Bro hat, t-shirt, and hoodie. So thanks to Tommy O over at Specialized Printing for coming up with the merch. So I dropped it off to her, man. She seemed really open. She seemed really cool. I got a picture with her, told her you and I were huge fans, said we'd love for you to come on the podcast. So I just emailed her people today. So we'll see what happens. I emailed her agent and stuff today and said, hey, we just want to try to get her on one Monday before the season starts.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. And, you know, it's funny is because, you know, when we had Jillian on, I was like, she's my favorite. And I made the mistake of calling her Sophia. But I was, she's just, you know, I just loved watching her. And I love, you know, she is like a little kid with her enjoyment that she gets playing. I mean, she played not like a little kid because she plays her ass off. She plays her with her ass off, and she is a tough. You know, she's very, very tough.
Travis, what's up, brother?
Jude, what's good, man?
How you doing, my man? I'm so glad that you could come on tonight.
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me?
Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you.
We can see him now.
We were just trying to.
There we go.
There you go, right there. We got you right there.
Got you.
Can you see us?
Yeah, I can see you guys.
All right. Listen, I apologize if we had you waiting for a few minutes here, man. We were checking up on the screen. We were into our show.
Should be bullshitting too much. Be long-winded, man. I'm like, come on now.
Oh, you're good, man.
So
good. I'm just happy that you asked me to be a part of this.
Absolutely. So out to our people and Love You Bro podcast, we want to bring on one of my favorites for a long time. I've known this man since he was in high school doing his thing, doing big things in Kansas City. So tonight we're bringing on Travis Releford, former KU Jayhawk. I call him a legend because I know the type of games he played and what he did at Allen Fieldhouse. So Travis, thank you for coming on our show with Jamie and I tonight, man. It means a lot, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, thanks for having me on,
man.
I appreciate the call. Inviting me to be a part of it.
Yeah,
absolutely. So Travis, let's kind of dive in, Jamie. I want to dive in and talk a little bit. We got a few different things to get into with them, but I want to talk a little bit because everything has changed so much nowadays. Travis, talk a little bit about your time when you were coming out of Miege and getting recruited, and how they got you to come to Kansas.
Well, we didn't have NIL deals back then, so it was recruiting off of like selling you a dream on, hey, you could come here, do this for the program, be a part of history. That's pretty much I wouldn't say every college coach pitch, but they wasn't selling you on like, hey, we can give you $1 million to come play here.
Of course, yeah.
So with that being said, knowing Kansas history, every kid playing basketball, knowing, you want to be a part of that. You see the video, that's something you want to be a part of. So it was an easy decision for me.
Yeah, right. And speaking on that, Trav, like not having NIL and going there, and so much going for that name across your chest right now. And when you see this, like I know Christian last year chimed in, and I'm sure you have feelings towards it too. Is losses don't seem to affect the kids as much from a standpoint of like losing to a Missouri or losing for someone that you didn't like as a school, because so many kids move around now, and so many kids, obviously everyone hoops together in the summer or on, their club teams or whatever it is. But you guys, it was different back when you guys were there, because it was for so much love on the part of the Kansas on your jersey, and losses hit different. And do you see that now? Because you look back and be like, man, that shit was different. We were there. We didn't like to lose to Missouri, and we didn't like to lose to Kansas State, and stuff was even elevated. Having kids now don't really have that connection to schools and or rivalries.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it don't mean more for the guys, because obviously they want to win. But for us, like I said, like we were sold on like, tradition, being a part of history. And during my era, I think they had won it 4 or 5 years before us in a row. We didn't want to be the team to not win or team to lose, the Big 12 championship streak.
Sure.
So we held ourselves accountable as far as that. Like, hey, we don't want to be the team to lose when we're here. So it's more for us because we wanted to continue that history and not the wrong side of it. So.
How was it? What, like I always hear, here, and we've, I've been around, the school a little bit, the program a little bit, and talk a little bit about boot camp and what that's like, and how, because all you hear is horror stories, and like, you hear like, damn, it's like that, and they're like, oh, it's like that. There's trash cans, and there's just, it's once you've been through it a couple times, you got to pull the fellows who haven't. But explain a little bit about Coach's boot camp.
Boot camp, I mean, there's so many of them. I can talk all day about the boot camp. The trash cans are legit. Yeah. They are being used. But it's just, you get up. I think the hardest part is getting up and getting there and being on time. And we have rules where you got to be on time to everything, class, tutoring, like anything you have to be at, you have to be on time. If not, that's going to be added like conditioning to it.
Oh, shit. Okay.
But, you do that for 2 weeks. So the hard part is probably getting up and being on time to everything you have to be at. But once you get going, the last 2 days are the worst, because you're doing 22s, you're doing 20, I think it's 20, 22s. I don't know if they still do this. And then 30, 33s or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And that's all you're doing on the last 2 days. So that's pretty much the two hardest days. The other days, you're just 45 minutes straight conditioning, you're doing defensive slides, slapping the backboard.
Yeah.
It's tough, but you just have to be there. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to explain to somebody that haven't either watched it or been a part of it, but it's intense. And I think it was great for our team because it brought us together. These guys quit, and we're not letting you quit. We need you. So it brings, during that time, it just brings our team closer together, and Coach Self knows that.
Yeah, and Hootie Girl was there at the time, right? Hootie Girl came on the I Love You Bro podcast.
Yep.
So Travis, one of the things that kind of strikes me tonight, even just seeing you come on, and Jamie kind of touched on it earlier because Christian touched on it, seeing you come on the show and having your shirt on that just says Kansas, I just think it meant more to the guys back in the day. You see a guy, old school guy like Travis, who wanted to be a Jayhawk. He comes on the show wearing his Kansas, in front of his Kansas jersey. I just love seeing that. I want to get your thoughts on the transfer portal, because I feel like, and this is just me, coming from an average guy, kind of just, loves sports, loves the game. But I just feel like kids, when they get punched, they get knocked down, or feel like a coach doesn't like them or they're not playing, boom, they're hitting the transfer portal. And then you'll see some kid that's been to 3 or 4 schools in 4 years, and I just don't know if it's teaching them the stuff that it taught you guys. Because I know coming in as a freshman, you weren't playing and starting right off as a freshman, but what you did and what you went through made it for you for like all 4 years, meant more to your senior year. Am I right by saying that?
We'll say the last part again.
Did it mean more to you on your 4th year? Because you came in freshman year, you weren't starting, but like going through what you went through with Coach Self for 4 years, and then you're starting your senior year. Doesn't that mean more to you being in the program for 4 years and then you're starting your senior year?
Yeah. I actually was a 3-year starter.
Right.
It meant more for me because for my story, I felt like I had a lot more to prove. Being from Kansas City, having all the hype going to KU and not playing my freshman year and then having a red shirt my sophomore year. So I'm like, I got to come back, prove myself. And I was never a kid that, run away from a situation or a challenge. So for me, my personal story, yes, I wanted to be a part of Kansas basketball history. So that's all I grew up knowing. But for the kids nowadays, it's tough, man, because they have the option to do that. Right. I who would have known what I would have done if I would have been in the NIL era with all the hype I had. I mean, the money that they're offering kids. That's what I'm saying. It's tough to compare what I would have did versus what a kid's doing now. I don't think I would have went to 4 or 5 different schools. I would, like I said, I'm big on proving myself. And Kansas basketball is the highest level you can do that. If you're playing basketball in college, that's what I think. And I did that, and it turned out really well for me.
T-Bro, what was your biggest moment, or the moment that you will cherish being at Kansas? Like whether it was a game or I know. Having Sharon on, we've had Tyshawn, and they've talked about going into certain arenas. Like Ames is something they both mentioned, and they loved quiet. And then they said they had some choice words for those fans up there, but there was it was nothing like silencing it up there, and what that meant, like in that arena, just walking out, chant, and the shit you guys got, people yelling at the bus and all that. But what was your place that you loved to go into, and being the competitor you were, be like, oh, I'm gonna get mine tonight, we'll get this dub.
Yeah. Anytime we played in Kansas City, that was for sure. That was where I had to show out.
Yeah.
As far as the Big 12, Iowa State, like you guys heard, that's a fun place to play because those guys are always competitive and their fans are great. I actually live 20 minutes from Ames, so I'm up there watching their sports teams a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
And then K-State, because of the in-state battle that we had with them, and their fans showed up every time we played.
Yeah,
right.
I wouldn't do, but I'm trying to think. Their crowd was pretty quiet most of the time we played down there. So it's kind of if they were winning, then they were loud, but they weren't winning a lot of the times we were down there playing. So, but yeah, Iowa State probably I would say my top 2 fun play.
And then was it your senior year, Travis, that you guys went, and you guys, by many, were undermanned against that Kentucky team that had NBA guys everywhere in the national championship game, right? And you guys, and it was a good competitive game. I mean, you guys hung around and fought and clawed against, the likes of, that was Anthony Davis, right?
Yeah, their squad was loaded.
I mean,
I can't player that was on it, but they had probably 8 guys get drafted in the first round.
Which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they were good. And then we played them twice that year. We played them at the Garden.
Right.
And after that, was crazy because we were sitting in the locker room after that game. We was like, we're going to see them again.
Yeah.
And it's going to come down to, probably the last game. And that's what because they beat us in at the Garden too. So.
The Champions Classic.
So Travis, your time at Kansas, I got a couple questions for you. I want to know who was your favorite teammate you played with, and then outside of Coach Self, who was one of your favorite assistants that you really loved playing for there at Kansas?
Teammate, that's easy. Tyshawn. That was still my guy to this day.
I love
it. Outside of Coach
Townsend.
I'm trying to. What'd you say?
Coach Townsend.
Coach T, obviously. I mean, he's cool. He's down there. I would say D Manning at the time because
that's right.
he work out with the bigs when I was at KU. So I had the opportunity to do big man work and guard work. So it was kind of cool that they, let me do that when I was there.
That's awesome. I love that. So again, talking about your days at Kansas, Travis, some really big games you played in there at the field house. Do you have, I know Jamie talked about the away things, but do you have a favorite moment inside Allen Fieldhouse that, maybe when you're working out or whatever, things just kind of go through when you think back and go, man, that was my favorite moment inside Allen Fieldhouse?
My favorite moment? I'll say my favorite team moment was when we beat, obviously, Mizzou the very last time we played them in the Big 12. being down, I want to say 18 and a half, 16 to
Yes,
18.
yes.
Coming back and winning that, I mean, that to explain how the feeling that we went through and the celebration we had afterwards. I can say though, at halftime, Coach Self was like, "Hey, in 20 minutes, we're gonna be in here celebrating. Do you guys believe that?" And everybody, agreed, and we brought it in, and that's what we made happen. So
Yeah,
he a believer, and we never thought we was out of it. It's time on the clock, and to be able to come back and win that last game at home was.
You see the enjoyment you guys had celebrating, but Coach, it's one of the up on the videos before the game of that, his moment, what it meant to him. And, it was that was a special moment. I'll never forget. It was a special moment coming all the way back and beating him. And I couldn't get on my phone and dial up all my MU buddies because they was talking shit the whole time. Even with that, I was like, I had to sit there and I was like, man, I'm going to set my phone over here. I ain't fucking with these dudes right now. And then when they did, all their shit got turned off. They just turned it off. I was like, man, that's just typical. That's typical.
Yeah.
So
no, that was a fun time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if I thought back on it, I got plenty, but that probably was the biggest.
I love it.
Yeah, and what was cool to me, Travis, is I got close with Star, and then introduced to Shardo, and got to go up and be around the program. And I remember the first time that I was growing up, and my dad being a fan, my dad's 93 and being a Jayhawk for life, and that's what it was taught in our house. But to see the family and how it felt around the campus, around the locker room, from everyone from Scooter to Cheddar it was just family, and it was just like everyone looked out for everyone, and it just felt like something that me not being an athlete, not being someone that that's what you'd want it to look and feel like, and just so much love, and everyone's got everyone, and just it's a special place, man, with this from top to bottom.
I mean, it still feels like that for me. I've been going since 13, and I can still call Coach Self. I can call any of the coaches on the coaching staff, even some of the newer ones. If I stepped in town and asked for that number, they'll pick up and reach back to me.
Sure.
So it's all the same, man. Yeah. It's cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Travis, I know you still stay in touch with the guys and watch all the games and stuff. Have you had a chance to continue watching kind of what's going on? I'm sure you watched the game on Saturday. What do you think of DP? What do you think of this team? Tell us some of your thoughts.
I like our team a lot. So like the last few years, it's kind of been hard to watch. That's not living up to our potential. But this team, they're fun to watch, man. They seem like it. They care more, Yep. They work hard. If they're making a mistake, they're putting effort into it, So I have nothing bad to say. I definitly wish I was still out there. But
you look like you could be, Travis. I'm like, damn, man. You still look like you'll be a fifth-year senior.
No, it's fun, man. And I've met a lot of KU fans up in Iowa, and we get together and watch the games and talk about old games and stuff like that. But I'm on the fan side of it, so I'm enjoying it. It's all fun.
Hey, does Melvin Council remind you a little bit of Tyshawn?
Say it again.
Does Melvin Council remind you a little bit of Tyshawn?
Yeah, I would say his body frame.
Yeah.
Quick, twitch, athletic. Tyshawn can finish a little better,
Yes.
Tyshawn can shoot it. You wasn't leaving him open, but as far as running the team, he definitely got that. If you had to compare him to a former player, it would probably be.
Yeah, when I see Melvin get out on the break and kind of run the offense and distribute, that's where he kind of reminds me of Tyshawn. When he gets out and he finds a guy, I just feel he looks a lot like Tyshawn in that way there.
And so watching, like you said, you're watching that. What Iowa State did at Purdue was impressive. I thought it was some bullshit. I was like, wait a minute, I got to double check. And I mean, the Big 12 is as loaded as it's ever been and as good as a conference in college basketball right now.
No, that was a beat down. And I mean, Iowa State having those veteran players come back, man, that's people don't understand how much that helps your team. Every team's a new team every year. But when you got two of your core, your point guard and your big coming back, and you add a few pieces to it. You got Michilovic shooting threes. I mean, that guy can't be stopped.
Oh, he's tough. Yeah. He
I
decent.
mean, they're telling him to shoot 10 threes a game. No, that's what they're telling him to do. So
crazy.
with that kind of green light and confidence, like you're playing against a tough team, and they defend too. So the Big 12 is going to be fun. And it's going to be tough this year.
I was telling Jude earlier, I was like, it's as good to me as college basketball's been. And, it's just, there is good games on every night, competitive games with high caliber athletes on both sides, both defending. I mean, they're really, really good college basketball games. And I told Jude, I go, I will be surprised if 2, if not 3 from the Big 12 are in the Final Four when it's all said and done. I mean, I know you still got Duke and Gonzaga, Kentucky, stuff like that. But the
thing about basketball, college basketball, they're not running from competition. I mean, football, you don't get the opportunity to play against or play as many games. But this year, I feel like all the top teams are scheduled against all the top teams.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody like catching a break. Like, you look at our schedule, anybody else schedule that's in the top, they're playing against other top teams, which I'm fun. I mean, I wish college basketball continue to stay like this. All the top teams beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I think that new Era's tournament, how that schedule is, I think is dope. And I think they kind of do it like the European collective scoring, like who advances. But everyone's playing. Everyone wants to participate in it. And it's just like, and I know Coach even admitted he probably should have put the gas on a little bit more that first game because it goes by points. That could have been in that championship game as opposed to that third game. But I thought that was really cool and innovative and gets everyone involved and people all over the country watching,
Yeah, they need to come up with a better way to crown the champion.
Yes.
But everybody's going to tune in because they're getting the top teams and talents in that tournament.
Yeah.
But they need to find a better way to crown the champion.
Absolutely.
Travis, listen, man, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule, man. We know you got your family life and everything going on back in Iowa. You know how much love I got for you back here. Jamie's got back here. Listen, you and I talked a little bit about you coming on tonight, and then you're going to come sometime here in January. You'll be in Kansas City. And I'm going
to come on the show.
Yeah.
I'm going to be right. Guys,
we want to bring you in the studio so we can have you sign up on the Love You Bro on our banner back here. And then I'll get a hold of you before you come in to get your sizes and stuff. We want to get you some Love You Bro crimson and blue merchandise so you can rep that up in Iowa.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Hey, love you, bro. Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Rock Chalk.
Travis, thanks for coming on, man. Love you, bro.